Welcome back to my sewing room. I'm Kelly and you found me here on Pick and Stitches, and today we're going to be knocking out the next Pieceful Basket from the Sew Along with Fat Quarter Shop. These come each month in our Sew Sampler box. You may also buy those patterns online through Fat Quarter Shop. They'll probably release this one in another couple of days. I was super excited to sew it out. So we've already done 3 months and this is our 4th month. I can't wait to show you my tips and tricks. Let's hop right on in. The first thing you want to do is cut out all your pieces per the instructions, and I've got all of these kind of lined up on my design board. And then I always like to start with the half square triangles. Now this time I'm actually going to follow the directions 100%. So we're going to take our P and then this one, which is an M, and I'm also going to take the dot and then the green that is also the other M. And for those of you who've been asking about more ways to make half square triangles, I'm not going to use triangles on a roll because here we're just making 2. So I like to use this tool, and I'll do it on the green one so that you can see it. This is called the Quilter's ruler. There's a couple different versions. I know Creative Grids has one, but basically I'm going to use this hole to line up on the point on either side. And then I'm going to draw a line on each side of this ruler. And that's going to give me a 1/4 inch from center line. So now when I take this over to the machine, I'm going to take my 2 sides together and I'm going to pin it. Sorry, that pin didn't show up as well as I thought it would. And then I'm going to sew down both of those lines, and then we'll cut right down the middle to make our 2 different squares. Actually, it'll make 4. It'll make 4, and I believe one of them we're not using. I can't remember what color it is, but one of them's not going to be. We'll only have one, and we'll save the other one for another project. I kind of have a whole design board of some of the extra pieces I have from this, and also I'm sewing the Piece and Quilt sampler out of this same fabric line, so I figure I'll have enough orphan blocks by the end of it that I can make something fun there. Okay, so we'll take this over to the machine, sew down both the lines. Okay, so we'll just head over to our machine. I'm going to get a regular stitch length. Okay, so we're just going to stitch down both of those lines. So for that other fat quarter, okay, so that's one. We'll go ahead and sew the other one. Okay, we'll go press it open. Okay, so first I like to set my seams, and then I'll just bring my little cut mat over here, and we'll just cut these 2 in half. Okay, so we've cut those in half. Then we're going to press them to one side. Now you can use this same tool to clip the corners before you press it open. So if you wanted to, you can line this up with what you've just sewn and then use this tool to just kind of snip that corner. I find that it's just as easy to use a small pair of scissors. It's 100% personal preference. Okay, so I'm going to press to the dark side. I always feel like I have to look around for Darth Vader when I say that. Okay, and then I'm just going to roll through and clip mine really quick. I'm going to clip them over here because I love my new ironing board cover, but I can't see all the little pieces of fabric, and so then I forget and I don't clean them all up, and then they stick to the next big thing that I iron. It makes me nuts. You know, the silly things in your sewing room that just make you absolutely bonkers. That's one of them. So now I'm just going to press these open and we'll throw them under the clapper and we'll get onto our 9 patch. And while I'm pressing these, I just wanted to talk to you about the 9 patch. So I think it's a 9 patch. Yeah, it's a 9 patch. So in the instructions, it does say to cut each block individually, and I would prefer to strip piece mine. So I left mine in sections that are big enough to strip piece. So if you don't feel comfortable doing it that way, you absolutely can cut them into the individual blocks and piece it together just like it says on the instructions. But these are kind of some of the shortcuts I use to make it a little bit faster. So I will get you a ruler and show you exactly how long I cut them, because I did that math yesterday and I have slept since then. Okay, so we're going to have one section that is green, white, green, green, white, green. Listen to me, blue, white, blue. And I cut those 3 inches. And then I have the other section is going to be white, blue, white. And I cut those to be 6 inches. So we're going to strip piece those together next. So I'll meet you back at the sewing machine. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and strip my longer ones together first. Doesn't really matter. And I'm just going to line them up, sew down the length, finger press it open, and then do the other one. Yeah, and you can see since I'm working from my stash, I didn't even trim that to the exact length, so I want to make sure I'm lining them up on the same side. I am going to press these to the dark. I may press them open when we go over to the ironing board. We'll see. Okay, so that's one section. Now I'm going to do the other section. Can I just say, I really love that our sewing machines stop with the needle down now. Has anybody sewn on something recently that doesn't stop down? It makes me insane. I'm so spoiled. Like, it's just ridiculous. Because how many years did we all sew on ones that didn't stop down and you had to like hand crank it to get it down, or be magical with the accelerator under the desk, foot pedal. It's like I get on camera and all my words elude me, guys. I really am a little bit more articulate than I come off. Let's go press these and cut them down. Okay, living dangerously over here. I've got my acrylic rulers on my ironing board. I think that's just asking for trouble. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and iron these. And you know what? I am going to leave them pressed towards the dark because then they're going to nest. And I will be happy if they nest. So initially these were supposed to be 1.5 inch blocks. Sorry, like I said, I did this math yesterday. So I'm just going to cut these down to 1.5 inch sections. I'm going to line up my ruler with one of these lines that I created. And first I'm just going to kind of square up this corner. It's close, but it's not quite there. Just give it the best chance possible. Okay, so we're going to go 1.5. So I'm actually going to cut 3 inches off first. Don't let that be confusing. It's just, I like to cut from from right to left so that I'm not dragging the ruler over something else. So first I cut off 3 inches. Now I'm cutting off 1.5. If I can get on the line. Okay. Whoops. Okay, so I'll have 4 pieces now that have the darker color in the middle. And now I'm going to cut my shorter side, and I think I actually cut this like exactly to length, which I don't usually do. I just wasn't thinking and cut it off at 6, and I had extra fabric on there, but you know, don't sweat the small stuff. Yeah, so that's right at 3. So I'm going to clean up those fuzzies, and then I'm going to cut it down to 1.5. Okay, so now we're going to take 2 of our whites and we're going to flank like that. So when we put these together, these seams should nest nicely because we pressed towards the dark. So if you prefer to press open, you may absolutely do whatever works for you. So we'll take these over to the machine and start sewing. Just to remind myself, these are kind of small, so I'm not going to worry about a design board, but I'm going to have 1 piece of blue between all the whites. So I'm just going to take that down and off we go. And at the end, this is going to measure 3.5 by 3.5. Now I'm just going to fold that back to kind of get it out of my way. I think when I take this over to the iron in a minute, I'm actually going to press those open because the seams are just getting a tiny bit bulky. And after these nested, I don't really care. Okay, so I like how our corners came together. That's the beauty of nesting. It makes it nice and easy. Let's do the other one. Okay, so now I'm just going to go ahead and press these open. I'm going to set the seams, and I am going to actually press these open. I know a lot of times I don't. And then we'll double check our size and make sure if we need to trim it down. We want these to be 3.5 by 3.5. We'll throw a clapper on it, and then I'll do this one. And then we're pretty much ready to build our blocks, guys. This one's going to come together really quickly. Okay, so next I'm just going to double check these. This is my 3.5-inch ruler. It is super close, but I always do so with a bit of a scant quarter, and I kind of know that about myself, just so I have a little bit of wiggle room to trim it up. Okay, so now we're going to build out our blocks on a fresh design board. First, we're going to build out our top couple of rows. So we're going to take piece Q, which if you're following the pattern exactly like they are doing at Fat Quarter Shop, is going to be this kind of ditzy print. Then we're going to take our 2 9 patches, which are these 2, and we're going to put them adjacent. Then we're going to get our white green with the white part up. Then we're going to get our 2 blue greens with the blue part up. And that's going to be the top part. Then we're going to get piece H, which is the big floral. I love this print. I bought this to be my backing. I think I always like a big floral, but I really love Camille's. Okay. Then we're going to get piece K for the bottom. And remember, piece K and piece J are very close. So I always grab the one that doesn't have the sticker on it so that I can keep it straight on my board. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is piece these 3 together. So let's head back to the sewing machine and get that done. If you've watched my channel before, you know I like to piece these kind of in rows, but I'm going to try to follow the instructions just to keep it simple this time. So I'm just going to flip that right on top of my 9 patch, sew it down, and then I'm just going to flip this open for now so that it's out of the way. I'm going to reach back over here, grab this next piece, flip it over, and then I'm going to sew it on. That way I'm not running back and forth to the ironing station quite so often. All All right, now I'm just going to lay that on my design board, and I'm going to do the same thing for our next row. So I'm going to pick up this one and put it on here, sew it down. And I know I'm a little bit redundant with all the design board stuff, guys, but it really does keep my brain on straight. All right, come back, open it up, make sure I didn't flip it around because you know me, I like to do that. Okay, so that's correct, and then this one's going to go on there. Okay, and the next row only has 2 pieces, so I'll just grab those just like this, and we're going to sew them together, and then we'll go press. All right, I'm going to go press these, and I'll meet you guys right back here. Now we've got those all pressed. I'm just going to connect row 1 to 2. And the way I press them, the seams are going to nest. Totally up to you how you want to press. So that's row 1 and row 2. Now I'm going to sew on row 3, and then we'll go press all of those. And I could have attached this on with the last run. It's just one more run back to the pressing station, but I should have done it already. So we'll attach this one on. And I'll go press that open. Okay, so now we're just going to attach this strip on to this side. And we'll go press again. Okay, I don't know why I always skip this step on these blocks. I guess I get to feeling like I'm headed towards the finish line. We have one more half square triangle to make. So I'm going to do this kind of the old-fashioned way. So if you have a seam guide on your machine, I've got this black line is 1/4 inch, the red line is where my needle is, and then this black line is 1/4 inch on the other side. So I'm going to line up the point of my triangle, or excuse me, of my square with this line, and I'm going to sew with the point staying right there. And my needle came unthreaded. Okay, so let's try that again with a needle that is threaded. Okay, I'm going to move it under there a little bit further so that it's hitting fabric initially. And I'm just going to keep this point in line with my 1/4 inch. Sew all the way through, and then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So this is kind of an eyeball method, if you will. And it's probably the least accurate of all the ways we can make a half square triangle, but this guy's tiny, so it'll be all right. So I'm going to go cut it open between those two, and then I'm going to press it open. Okay, so now that we've got our half square triangles made for the 2 corners, I'm going to attach this top row. So D, I don't remember what piece that is, L I think, and then our half square triangles, and then I'm going to attach C to L and then our half square triangle. So we will press that open in just a minute. Okay, we'll go press these open. Okay, so now we're going to take our top section D and we're going to attach it to the main body of our block. And go ahead and take that sticker off. I like to reuse those. I like the alphabetties, but I always find if I have to move that project and do something else for a little while, they all slide off and it's hard to stay organized. I don't want to have to go press it and come back, so I'm just gonna use my little nifty roller, and then this next side is going to go. Getting myself confused. I rolled the wrong corner. I sure did. I kind of thought that felt wrong, guys. I always do. I love to throw it back on that design board just to make sure. So I've rolled this one out now, and I'm just gonna line this side up and sew down. And I did press these little white half square. Oh, I unthreaded again. Dude, what am I doing? Must be time to change my needle again. So I usually change my needle every 5th bobbin. But I'm testing sewing with this glide. There we go. 60, which is really, really fine. And so my bobbins are lasting forever, and it's possible that it may be time to change the needle. All right, let's go press that. Okay, so I set those under the clapper. The next thing we're going to do is our outermost sections. K is going to be over here. J is going to be at the top. And we're just going to sew that together with E. I will take these over and press them to the dark and then bring it all back over here. So now the next thing we're going to do is attach this K and E piece here. And then we're going to attach the J piece across the top. I've got that one seam, I'm just trying to make sure it nests, and so I flipped it over so it's where I want it at the beginning of the run. Go press it. Okay, so now we're going to take piece A and piece F, and we're going to get them prepped and ready to go. And we're going to be sewing along the diagonal of F. So I'm just going to go corner to corner and go ahead and make my line. And then I'm going to pin it into the corner of A. And I'm just going to sew across that line. And then I'll bring it right back here and show you where we're going to cut it. Okay, so now we're going to trim a 1/4 inch away from that line. And I'm keeping these in my scrap bin for lots of other things, but maybe for the rest of this quilt. And then I'm going to go ahead and press this towards the blue side. Now that it's pressed, I'm going to just cut it in half. Okay, so now we're just going to line this up. Get my design board back over here. Okay, so that's what's going to make our block feel like it's on point. And then we'll just plop our basket down. Okay, so we're going to put our other triangle that we've cut in half, or was a square, now it's a triangle, and we're going to do opposite. So I'm going to do opposite sides, press it open, and then I'll do the other opposite sides and press it open. So let's head back to the machine. Okay, so first I'm just going to take this one because it seems like the easiest. And I'm just going to kind of center it because it's going to have a little bit of overhang. Now I'm going to grab the opposite side, which is going to be this guy. I could have done a nicer job pressing that one, huh? So we'll go press that open. Okay, so I've got that pressed open, and I'm going to lay it back on my design board, make sure that I get everything lined up the way I want, and then I'm going to sew these last 2 pieces on. Okay, so we'll take this back over to the pressing station, and then I'll get it up on the design wall for you. Okay guys, that's a wrap on our 4th of the Pieceful Baskets Sew Along. I hope you've enjoyed sewing this one out with me. I certainly am kind of waiting each month for them to come in. I can't wait to see when we get the whole entire quilt finished what it's all going to look like. So if you enjoy watching these tutorials or any of my unboxing videos, it would help me out a lot if you would like and subscribe to the channel. And if you happen to know of anybody else who's into quilting and enjoys some of the same things that we do, definitely share it with them. That would also be beneficial to the channel. Don't forget, I do have that private Facebook group. I would love to see what you guys are working on. And until then, I will see you next time.